3 to go. Can the Orange and Blue make it 6 straight victories to bring home a 2-game series lead? We get you set for game 2 between the Oilers and the Golden Knights right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, live on location from Hudson's Bourbon Street. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas with you. Matty Kassian, our game analyst, will be by in a little bit. We'll also be joined by Danny Webster from the Las Vegas Review-Journal to get you ready for what will be a big game. There's Cal in the park. Hello, Cal. Yes, I am not your maitre d'. Hello, Sarah. I will help, Sarah. You, Cal, you get out of here as we celebrate VR Montenegro's birthday. A lot of the nasties showing up. We always have a great time. Come on down if you haven't. Plenty of room right now, but Hernan Salas, I do see a bunch of tables that are already reserved for tonight's action.
Nice. Very good. We're looking forward to it. It's always exciting.
Oh, there's Raider Jesse. Good to see you. Everybody's down there. There we go. Yeah, see, there you go. I'm on the air. I am on the air. So away we go.
Talk to Tom right now.
Right. Well, they insist. They think it's hilarious. They know the joke. They know it's an inside joke. Providers of the best diesel engine components around. That would be GCL Diesel, turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Of course, text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. We want to hear from you. Hit that thumbs up button. The likes have been flying like crazy the last few days. The postseason always brings with it new viewers and listeners. Our audience continues to grow here at our station, and we appreciate that very, very much. Even Jada sent me we were talking on the phone on the way here, and she's like, one of the guys at work sent a clip to another guy at work from your station on one of your shows, and you guys were talking about the pint and Klim Kostin. And I was like, oh, look at that. We're getting around. Even the Pint people, the fine folks over at the Pint, are listening to EST. So we love it. The more the merrier. And we keep this bad boy building up and let the momentum continue to grow. Steve from Hudson's has provided me with one of these bad boys, 6 o'clocker lager from Alley Cat. They do have it here on game days. And you can get your favorite beverage. We prefer the 6 o'clocker lager, but here at Hudson's on Bourbon Street, they also have Birdie Booze. I think, for this upcoming summer, I don't think I can give away too much, but Birdie Booze is still on the agenda, but there's some left over here for the nasties if they want to dip into that for VR Montenegro's birthday. Nancito, how you feeling going into this game tonight?
Pretty confident. I was talking with Joaquin on our show that, I think since McDavid and Draisaitl joined this team, Tom, this is probably the most confident I've felt with this team. And in terms of, obviously they're going to drop games here, Tom. It's I don't know how many, but they're going to drop one, obviously, right? So, but there's just this confidence with this team. They look so calm, so cool. Like you said it last time, they've been through it all. Nothing surprises them. There's this confidence that they can get through anything. So again, they're going to lose a game, soon here. It might be tonight, it might be next week. Who the hell knows? But all I'm saying is the confidence level, at least for me in this team, that they can get this done is at an all-time high. They're down, they're up. It doesn't matter. They're just, especially in the last 3 games, man, they've been playing great. And I brought it up where Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, in the last 3 games, Tom, that have been all wins, probably their best 3 games of the playoffs, they have 7 points combined, and they've combined for 1 goal. The depth of this team is finally showing up, something we were waiting for since July 1st, 2024. And that's what's scary for the opposition, is that these guys haven't even gone off yet.
No,
outside of McDavid in game 1 against LA, Tom. So the confidence is at an all-time high.
But you know what's crazy about that is they still combined for 21 points in that first round series.
No, it's crazy.
That's not bad. That's best in the league until Mikko Rantanen went nuclear himself in supernova all at the same time.
They've just been so lights out lately that it's kind of crazy, man. It's just something. And like you said, you say their points, but McDavid had 5 of those in one game, right, Tom? like 5 of
Yes,
those.
he did.
Like, so, and again, this is not a thing where Hernan's saying like that those two are playing bad. That's far from it. What I'm saying is
No.
depth is showing up and they don't have to do it all.
It's kind of relieving, to be honest with you. They have combined now for 25 points in the postseason. McDavid and Draisaitl, very impressive. As always, those guys are playoff performers, and it is very reassuring and relieving to see the depth provide in the last couple of games without question. All right, we're going to get to the question of the night. Speaking of questions, from the Latino Heat, Hernan Salas. I liked how Joaquin was peppering you with questions about Chile.
Yeah,
and you got like all of them right except for what, one or two. The Penguins one, I was listening and I even said Penguins, the southern tip of Chile, Argentina. Like, it gets cold down there.
Yeah.
And then I think, what did you say? You said flamingos?
Flamingo. So
Yeah,
I had a
even I knew that.
friends and family reach out and they say, I think that's wrong, penguins, because there is penguins in other parts of the world. But at the end of the day,
well, Joaquin's phrasing wasn't great.
yeah, and he said it. He goes, I think I worded it incorrectly. So
Correct.
All good. That was really fun though, and I'll be honest, Tom, I surprised myself with my knowledge. So
it was very good.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, let's get to your. Do you have a question of the night ready to go?
Of course I do.
Oh, of course you do. All right, let's get to the question of the night from the Latino Heat, and then Danny Webster is going to be joining us in about 7 minutes. We'll get to starting lineups. We'll hear from some of the players and Chris Knoblock, as well as game changers with Matt Kassian. Without further ado, the question of the night from the Latino Heat. Go ahead, Hernan.
Yeah, it's not the best of questions we've had on the, but it's genuine curiosity here. I want to know from our nasties listening, watching us, which Edmonton Oiler has surprised you the most through 7 games? And of course, outside of the 2 dogs, that I don't think they'll be there. But because for me, Tom, there's about 5 good options, and mine's probably going to be different than everybody else's. But we'll start with you. Who's impressed you the most? And like we always say, show your work. Why?
Right. Well, John Klingberg. I think we're going to hear a lot of John Klingberg. It's because he's played so effectively and stepped right in, and him and Jake Wallman have found a groove with one another. They seem to read off of each other decently well, and they haven't been getting caved in. At least to me, it doesn't seem that way. I don't know what the underlying numbers say. Quite frankly, I don't really care what the underlying numbers say, but those two seem to be holding their own just fine. So I would have to say John Klingberg, to be honest, but and I also feel like we're probably going to hear that from a bunch of people as well, and rightly so. But Nancy, you make a good point. We could have like 4 or 5 different answers for valid reasons from a smattering of listeners and viewers.
Yeah, because I'm not going to go with the obvious. And this is a guy that I've kind of been hard on during the regular season. I think he's had 2 really subpar regular seasons, a really good playoffs last year. But this year, he's taken it to another level, and that's Connor Brown for me. Like he's got 4 goals, Tom. He scored a highlight reel one. He's always in the play. Sometimes when he's skating out there, I'm confusing him with another player, Tom. Like he's bringing it, man. And just the cojones. I love the all business celebration in front of the Vegas bench. Like it's almost like Connor Brown turns into someone else come playoffs time. I truly believe this guy's been excellent. For me, he's been top 5 forward for the Oilers through the first 7 games. And like I said, just for me, because we all have different opinions on players, but I think in the regular season, he always leaves a lot out there that, you're like, oh, you need more from this guy. You need more. He gets a lot of breakaways. I know Gager and I always like kind of refer to him as Todd Marchant in the regular season because he gets a lot of looks and can't finish. And that's no disrespect, but it's just the truth. And I mean, there's a song made about him that can he score a damn goal? And so I think Connor Brown, for me at least, has been hella impressive. Like like I said, Tom, he's becoming one of the best forwards on this team. That's why I pick him.
That's a good answer. Thank you, Sarah. We're celebrating VR Montenegro with a bunch of the nasties heading into game number 2 between the Oilers and the Golden Knights at Hudson's Bourbon Street. Come on down, join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. They've got game day specials, a lot to enjoy here at Hudson's. A big shout out to Steve, Adam, Colby and Meg, as well as, I feel like I'm forgetting. Oh, Jeff. Jeff was here earlier. Hey, he was telling me about his Red Devils. Him and Lieutenant Eric always get into it, talking about the Premier League. So big shout out to the fine folks here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. It's always a great time. Come on down, watch the game with some friends, take advantage of some food specials and some drink specials, and maybe the Oilers wrap up the night with a treat for everyone. And it's another victory. We shall see. All right, text us your thoughts on who has been the biggest surprise to you thus far in the playoffs. That is the question of the night from Hernan Salas. 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Of course, this is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. Let's get you to the starting lineups now, brought to you by our good friends over at South Fort Chevrolet. We're lucky. We have a lot of great partners here at EST, and they're all fantastic people, and the guys over at South Fort and girls are no exception. You can buy now and save 0% financing, OAC up to 72 months, or save up to $8,000 on 2025 Silverado 1500s. Again, if you haven't gotten that tire change, the seasonal tire change done, you can do that over at South Fort Chev. And mention that we sent you from EST and receive an on-rim tire change for $59.95 plus tax. They're also giving big discounts on inspections when you get those tires changed over. See dealer for details, www.southfortchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. For the Edmonton Oilers tonight, why mess with a good thing? And that's the theory and the motto and the mantra that the Oilers coaching staff is going to live by tonight. McDavid with Draisaitl and Perry, RNH with Kane and Hyman, Henrique between Frederick and Brown, Janmark with Podkolzin and Arvidsson on defense, Nurse with Bouchard, Wallman with Klingberg, Kulak with Emberson, no Jeff Skinner, no Kasperi Kapanen, Max Jones, Derek Ryan, or Troy Stetcher. I always find it oddly curious, Hernan, to put it nicely, when people are like, what about Jeff Skinner? What about Kasperi Kapanen? What about
Kasperi Kapanen, Tom? I haven't even remembered.
I know.
Holy smokes.
For good reason, in my opinion.
Yeah,
what about them?
I mean, they're
I think he's an NHL player, but I think there's guys that are healthy and able to do more than Kasperi Kapanen. That's all I'm saying. All right, for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight, you're going to see a bit of a lineup shuffle. Nothing too crazy, some tinkering, if you will, from Bruce Cassidy. Jack Eichel between Ivan Barbashev and Mark Stone. Tomas Hertl with Brandon Saad and Victor Olofsson, who gets bumped up from the fourth line. William Karlsson back at center between Brett Howden and Riley Smith. So Howden was at center on the fourth line. He's a 20-goal scorer this year. He will be centered by Karlsson with Smith on the other side. And then Nicholas Waugh between Tanner Pearson and Keegan Colasar. You'll recall Colasar was further up on the depth chart last game. On defense for the Golden Knights, this comes with a caveat. Braden McNabb with Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin with Zach Whitecloud, Nicholas Hague with Caden Korzak. Alex Pietrangelo is a game-time decision. We will update you as soon as we know if he is going to play or will not play. We await the teams to hit the ice at T-Mobile Arena. For warm-up, Ben Hutton, Cole Schwint are the scratches for the Golden Knights, among their Black Aces, too. Your starting goalies tonight, 33-year-old Calvin Pickard, 5-0 this postseason, 276 goals against average, 891 save percentage in 6 games in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. Pickard, lifetime in the postseason, a 6-1 record, 260 goals against average, 898 save percentage in 9 career Stanley Cup playoff games. And then at the other end of the rink, it will be 28-year-old Aiden Hill. He is 4-3 this postseason, 301 goals against average, 876 save percentage in 7 games. And then lifetime versus the Oilers in the playoffs, Hill has a 3-2 record, a 256 goals against average, a 921 save percentage in those 6 appearances versus the Oil in the playoffs. That brings us to the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report, because at Advantage Sport Medicine, they want to remind you that Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Med. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. 780-460-9977. For the Edmonton Oilers, Matthias Ekholm, leg injury, keeping him out. He is not getting close. We don't expect him in the second round. Alec Regula, who has signed a 2-year, two-way deal with the Oilers this week, is also on the shelf due to a knee injury that's kept him out of action all season long. For the Golden Knights, Alex Pietrangelo, game time decision, like I just mentioned, dealing with an illness, did not play in game one. Pavel Dorofeev, day-to-day, undisclosed. Both of those guys did skate this morning. So there is your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. If you got something bugging you, go see the fine folks over at Advantage Sport Medicine and Physio. All right, we're going to get our visitor report now from Danny Webster from the Las Vegas Review Journal, getting us ready for tonight's action. Danny, I know a lot of people had a lot to discuss, both in Edmonton and in Vegas, in regard to Game 1. Here in Edmonton, it was another come-from-behind victory. The defensive side of the game for the Oilers continues to shine, which is somewhat of an anomaly considering how porous the defense could be during the regular season for the Orange and Blue. As for the Golden Knights, what is the number one talking point in Vegas in regard to what happened in Game 1?
Tom, we're going to have to call him back.
You're going to call him back? All right. I'll get to some text in the meantime. 780-218-9999. Vinny from Vegas says, hey, Tom, I believe Klingberg is a surprise and Brown. Let's keep it up. Tom, does your hair ever move? Any chance to get an invite to Hernan's house for a series? Vinny Vegas, who's a big Oiler fan. There's two European hair products in here, both from Sweden. There is a paste and there is a cream as well. So this thing will withstand today's winds here in Edmonton. Vinny from Vegas, thanks for the text. Appreciate you answering the Latino Heat's question of the night. All right, Danny Webster, good to go, Hernan? I think I can hear him. All right. I hear you, Danny. We got you loud and clear, buddy. All right. I before we had to call you back, I was asking about what has been the topic of conversation in Vegas surrounding the Golden Knights after Game 1, because here in Edmonton, we're pleasantly surprised with Edmonton's overall team defense and the fact that this team seems to win games coming from behind with ease, which is ridiculous if you think about it. What about in Vegas? What is everyone talking about down there?
Yeah, right now the biggest talking point is the Golden Knights feel like they let one get away there. You know, they took a 2-1 lead going into the third period. They were vastly outplayed in the second period. Aiden Hill standing on his head, making 12 saves and playing out of his mind. And the Golden Knights, who got off to that quick start, were in a really good spot. And just a couple of missed opportunities. You know, they allowed Edmonton's rush game to get going a little bit, kind of put them behind the 8 ball. And of course, Draisaitl scores that goal less than a minute in, and suddenly you're looking at just, oh no, what's going to happen coming out of this one? So right now, overall, the Golden Knights, I think, know that they can play better. I think they know that they have the ability to respond after a tough Game 1. And if we know anything about Bruce Cassidy over the last few years, he knows how to get the best out of this group going into another game. So definitely expect a much better effort tonight.
Danny, Bruce Cassidy did shuffle up his lines heading into Game 2. When you look at these combinations that he tinkered with here, what stands out to you?
They're trying to go with more depth, more balance. Obviously putting William Karlsson on the top line at left wing, not his natural position. But they were going with the combinations that worked well in the last 2 games of the Minnesota series when they were trying to find an answer for Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy. And obviously when you're going against Edmonton, trying to stop and Leon Draisaitl is a completely different animal when you're trying to load up that top line. And for the most part, that group did well. It's the rest of the lines that did not fare very well. I think the Nick Wall line with Ivan Barbashev and Riley Smith was, I think it was 13-4 in terms of shot attempts. Gave up shots 8-0, and not a lot of expected goals coming out of that group. So they're going back to Karlsson being at third line center, hoping to find some balance, hoping to find some depth down the middle. And at least with Karlsson going back in the middle, they know that they can at least use another line to match up with McDavid and Draisaitl to give Eichel and Stone a little bit of a breather, especially when they want to get going offensively.
With Carlson kind of reunited there with Riley Smith, do you think part of that too would be to get Smith going a little bit? 2 points this postseason. Is he the same player from that Cup-winning team a couple of years ago? I know people were super pumped to welcome him back in the fold in Vegas, but how has he performed in his time back in Las Vegas?
I think he's been fine. Obviously the point totals haven't been there. The goals haven't been there. I think a lot of people have been accustomed to Riley Smith being a 20, 25 goal scorer in some occasions with this group. But 2 years away from the Golden Knights ever since they traded in Pittsburgh and then he gets moved to the Rangers, I think there's definitely been a little bit of an adjustment. And I think trying to readjust to Bruce Cassidy's system has been a little bit different. There's been some tweaks here and there. But he hasn't been, I think, a net negative. I think he's been a fairly positive player in terms of production, even away from the puck. I feel like he's been savvy with the puck on his stick. But I do agree with you. I think it would help to get him going just so the Golden Knights get that depth scoring back, which they haven't had for the last little bit here. So I think that'll definitely help. But the chemistry that those two have had and they've developed over the years has definitely helped since he's come back. And I think it's unlocked both Carlson and Smith, especially late in the regular season.
Danny Webster joining us from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. As we get you set for game number 2, you can text us 780-218-9999. Get to the Nasty Chat if you're watching on YouTube. Speaking of offensive weapons, I know Pavel Dorofeyev did take the morning skate. That's a good sign. I think that would be a positive indicator. 35 goals this year. How much of an impact has his absence made on this lineup when this is a team looking to get a little bit of offense going?
Yeah, it's been an impact just because, he is one of their best power play options. He has been one of their best goal scorers all year long, and he's been a breakout star at 24 years old. He's definitely someone that the Golden Knights have relied upon to get that instant offense, and he's been a compliment with Tomas Hertl on that line. I think he is definitely missed in that aspect with himself and Brandon Saad. I do think that in terms of the last few games here, they could use his offense because you need that other weapon. But the good news is for the Golden Knights, they do have a backup plan with Victor Olofsson, who has dealt with some injuries this year. But I felt like late in the regular season, he started to come into his own and started playing very well down the stretch. And he's going back on that line, I believe, with Hertl and Saad tonight. So we'll see how that fares out. So at least you're not missing too much with that. But at least it's good that you're losing a 35-goal score, but you have someone that's capable of filling into that scoring void.
On the back end, we know Alex Pietrangelo is a game-time decision. He also took the morning skate. How much, in your opinion, did the Knights miss him in that game 1? And what kind of hole does he leave behind? Because I think, and I have a ton of respect for Alex Pietrangelo, and I really do think he brings a ton to this Golden Knights back end. And there are some that think that he's getting older, slower. He's 35 years old. I think the old dog still got it in him. What would you say to the loss of Pietrangelo in game 1 and then what kind of impact he could make if he does return tonight?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think anytime you can add and caliber back into the lineup, you're going to get, you know what you're going to get. But I would agree in the sense that it has not looked like the Alex Pietrangelo of old. He's definitely gotten older. There have definitely been some instances this year where his defensive play has not lived up to par, and I think that is just the aspect of getting older. But I do think for a team full of Stanley Cup champions, for a roster full of playoff experience, it does not hurt to have a guy that is capable of bringing those big-time plays on the back end. And I ultimately, when you look at the game the other night, I don't think they missed him too much just because, one, Caden Korczak, I think, came in and played fairly well in the 13 minutes that he was in. And I think that the fact that the Golden Knights have gone with 8 defensemen all year, they knew that they had caliber guys in the back end, whether it be Korczak or Hutton, to fill in that void if someone goes out. But, it does not hurt to have Alex Pietrangelo back there. If he does go back tonight, I think it will be a boost, and I do think that it'll at least help the Golden Knights solidify things. Even though going back into game 1, it looked like they were fine defensively, just a couple of miscommunications there, here and there, costing the game. So definitely would not hurt, but at least if he's not fully 100%, they have the confidence in the guys back there to plug into the lineup.
Yeah, it's nice to have that depth, and I thought Korczak, like you said, was reliable as well. All right, Danny Webster with us. I'll mix the last two questions I have for you together. A, how well does this Golden Knights team handle adversity and bounce back after losses? And then B, what kind of hockey game do you think we're going to see tonight, Danny?
This team, I think, does fairly well coming off losses. I mean, you look at the Minnesota series, they're down 2-1. They lose 2 games in a row in that series. They get, blasted in Minnesota 5-2 in game 3. Mismanagement of the pucks, bad decision-making there. But they come back, and even though it went to overtime, the next 2 games went to overtime, they found a way to get back into the game, found a way to win the game, and eventually go on to win the series. So I think with this group, knowing that they've been there, done that, they've won a cup before, they know what it takes to get back there. Being down 1-0 is a rarity under Bruce Cassidy with this group, but they always find a way to rebound, and they did a couple of years ago, and they did last year as well against Dallas in the first round. As for what we can expect for the game tonight, I honestly would be shocked if the Golden Knights did not put up their best effort. It's going to be interesting now that the lines are a little bit more balanced out, where the Karlsson line goes with McDavid, how much of that maybe how much of the Eichel line sees McDavid as well. That's going to be interesting to kind of see how that plays out as the game goes on. But I do think with the way that they're balanced, the way that they are, they're rolling 4 lines, just like Edmonton has been the last little bit, but this has been a 4-line team for a long time. I would be shocked if the Golden Knights don't find a way to get this split going into Saturday, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that the Oilers have definitely been probably one of the bigger surprises, just because it seems like they're out of a game and they find a way in the third period to make it happen. So if the Golden Knights have learned anything, the game is not over until that final buzzer sounds, and I think they're going to be aware of that tonight.
Yeah, the Oilers are like the Undertaker, man. They get up when you think they're beat down and done. We'll see what happens in this one tonight. Danny, great information, as always. I always appreciate your time here on EST. Are you going to be making the trek up to Edmonton as well?
We will. We'll be flying up there tomorrow morning.
Perfect. We'll catch you at the arena. Maybe have you down when we're live on location at the Canadian Ice House for the pre- and post-game show as well. Appreciate the time, man, and enjoy the game tonight. Safe travels when you come up to Edmonton, okay?
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
There's Danny Webster from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Excellent information from Danny there, getting us set from a Golden Knights perspective on what Bruce Cassidy wants to see from his group, what the lineup shuffling can do for his group, how much of an impact those guys being out, Dorofeev and potentially Pietrangelo again, has on this lineup. And if they can bounce back, they seem to have a tendency to deal with adversity decently well. They've been at the top of the Pacific Division standings essentially for the entirety of their existence outside of the 1 year where they missed the playoffs. And then, oh, by the way, they go win the Stanley Cup the very next year. All right, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. GSB texting in says Podkolzin is a beast. He finishes every hit and he wins the board battles, and he's strong with the puck on his stick. That's in regard to the Latino Heat's question of the night. Who has surprised you the most on this Oilers roster in the postseason? So we've had a Klingberg from Vinny from Vegas. Vinny from Vegas, I know you're getting Danny on the line, also wants to know if he can stay at your place if he flies up. I said yes. They said you can have the master bedroom for crying out loud. I'm kidding. And then GSB says Podkolzin is a beast. Sticky Dave says Matthias Janmark, just like you said, Tom, is the janitor for a reason. He is a playoff performer. Never doubted him. Thank you, Sticky Dave. Good to hear from you as well. Chime in with your thoughts, 780-218-9999. Of course, get into the chat over on YouTube. Matt Kassian is going to join us in a few minutes. We will go inside the Oilers locker room. Did you want to touch on anything Danny had to say there, Hernan?
No, it's just I'm a little surprised no one's picked Evander Kane, because we all thought it was gonna be really hard for him to just jump into the playoffs without playing a game since last year's playoffs, and he hasn't missed a beat. And then Danny, I intrigued by the lineup. Good for Vegas. Like I told you last game, Tommy, like Colasar on the second line is not sustainable. I don't know why teams do that when you know it's not going to last. Like just Go with your best. And you got a chant going there for Tommy's tab.
Tommy's tab, yeah, evidently.
Yeah. I think it's good, Tom, because like Danny said, now you can line up two guys against that top line of the Oilers, right? It's not just one line, and you got to get. And a good point on Riley from you, because I looked at it this way. I asked Gager today. I go, did you even notice Riley Smith?
No.
Right?
Honestly,
he was not good in that first game. And this is a guy that's used to playing with William Karlsson. Of course, Marchessault, that was the line there they had since day one, and they were fantastic together. So,
what were they called? The Brats?
Man, that's a good
I got to look that up.
They're really good, though. They're a fantastic line. So that's one guy they need to get going. Olofsson has the skill too as well. So it's going to be an interesting game, and I think goaltending. I think Aiden Hill's going to look to bounce back because he was good up until the tying goal. That was an ugly goal to give up, and we'll see. And I mean, 17 shots against the Oilers is not going to cut it, Tom.
No, it won't. Especially 7 in the last 2 periods combined. They were called the Misfits, Nancito.
The Misfits.
Just to answer my own question. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So we'll see. And as soon as I see the status of Alex Pietrangelo, I will let you know, Tom, because I know you're going to be with Cass and you're kind of busy there on location. So if I see it before you get eyes on it, I'll let you know, because I think it's a big story. It's a big story in this game.
It's a big story.
And Danny's the first guy out of Vegas to say, well, I don't necessarily disagree with the takes that he's slowing down and getting older, right? Because
I like Pietrangelo. I said it to Danny. I think Pietrangelo is still a valuable defenseman. I have a lot of respect for him, but father time, it catches up to guys. And
for sure.
Look at Matthias Ekholm. He's also 35 years old, and he is having a tough time staying healthy, dealing with his leg injury right now. Didn't play a ton after the Four Nations face-off. Yeah, Father Time is undefeated, right? That's the old cliche, but it is true. I want to talk about my tab might be getting used and abused right now.
Well,
with the Nats, you got a great turnout.
They need approval from you. I mean, come on, Tom.
Oh, don't worry. We'll make sure VR Montenegro is well taken care of tonight. I'll see to it myself, if you will. Cass is coming up in about 10 minutes. We do have some audio we want to get to as well. We do want to hear from you, your thoughts. Throw out the question of the night one more time, if you don't mind, Nancy.
Who surprised you the most for the Edmonton Oilers in the first 7 games? And listen, there's a lot. You said Klimberg. I said Connor Brown. Someone picked Bud Colson. Someone picked Janmark. No one's picked Kane yet. Okay, let's go off that question. Is Adam Enrique probably the only guy on this team you need to see a little bit more? And I'm not saying he's been terrible. I'm just saying, do you need a little bit more?
I was listening to you on EST Afternoons, and I don't disagree with you, but I think his game has gotten better in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's just the offense isn't there.
Yeah.
A goal and an assist. He's +1 through 7 games. But, he's doing the mucky stuff well. He's engaging physically. He's grinding down low. He's trying to throw hits. And you can tell, to me, that's a sign he's even if the offense isn't there, he's trying to make sure he's on the right side of the puck. He's giving them everything he can. So, yeah, I'd like to see more offense, and I don't disagree with your take on that, but I do recognize his effort. And if some offense showed up a little bit more, that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's what I would say about that.
Yeah, because this isn't the case of he's not trying. He's working his butt off. It's just not happening for him. And I mean, they haven't needed him to, I guess, with Janmark and Brown and Arvidsson and kind of the emergence of Kane. And I mean, another guy, Trent Frederick, who's getting better and better every game he plays. So he can be someone's biggest surprise because, again, he was a guy we didn't see much. Saw 7 minutes of him in the regular season, and that was about it, right? And the first 2 games in LA, I mean, a lot of guys weren't good, but we were talking about how it looked like he was still laboring the injury. He wasn't getting around, but every game since, and credit to Chris Knoblock for sticking with him because he's gotten better every game, and he's getting back to that agitator status that he's known for, right? So it's great to see.
All right, let's go into the Oilers locker room.
Sure.
We have Leon Draisaitl, and you said Calvin Pickard. Why don't we start with Leon Draisaitl, Hernan?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, beautiful. Here is Leon Draisaitl.
Playoffs, Leon, where defensively you were just dialed right in. I think there was the one game in the LA series, this first game here. What's maybe the difference on nights, you think?
Just attention to detail. We know we can defend really well. We've done it lots of times during the regular season. We did it last year. We know how to do it the right way. It's just a matter of doing it every night. And obviously we're looking to do that again tonight.
Is it backtracking? Is it just always sort of being in that mindset? Like, what are some of the details of that?
Yeah, it's just the way that we want to play. Obviously, forwards, tracking back. It gives our D the freedom to surf lines and be aggressive. So it's a 5-man system that's being played all over the ice. So just making sure that our little details are dialed in.
And you're probably playing as a team your best hockey of the season right now at the most important time. Is that just a facet of a veteran team that's done this now and has the timing down, or did the injuries and all the new guys, did that have something to do with it?
Well, I think we had a lot of injuries, starting the playoffs, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time for everyone to find their spot and find their legs a little bit. And I think we've obviously getting to a point where guys are starting to feel healthy and feeling good. And that being said, I think we played some really great hockey during the regular season as well. So we know how to play the right way. We know how to win hockey games. Again, it's just a matter of doing it, more consistent than all the other teams.
You saw that game one. What is it about someone like Chris where when he comes up with adjustments, not only are those adjustments consistent, but it seems like they've been working since he got here from Canada?
He pushes the right buttons, seemingly. We do have an experienced group in here that knows how to play the right way and knows what it takes to win hockey games this time of year. So that part helps a lot, of course. But Nobber has obviously done a great job of, sending the right messages at the right time.
Yeah, it seemed like you guys really broke the puck out well last game. What was the key to that? How did you guys manage to do this?
Again, I think it's 5 guys, sticking to their details and doing the right thing in those moments. Our D did a great job moving the puck. Our forwards were back, tight support, and we broke the puck out really well, which led to obviously not a lot of time in our own end, and obviously, that's a goal again tonight.
I know you like to say that if you guys play your best, you think your best can do well because a lot of teams' best. But how cognizant are you of their line matchups and what they're trying to do to you guys in terms of maybe trying to slow you up?
It's no different than any other team, no different than any other series. Some teams line match more than others, but we always have the belief system of, especially on the road, this is about us. Let's make other teams adjust to us. And I think when we're at our best and everyone's going, I think we're really hard to defend and really hard to handle.
How impressed are you with Klingberg's puck moving here recently?
Yeah, it's elite. We knew that coming in, that after a little bit of time to adjust. His puck movement, his hockey IQ understanding of where to find the open guy is as good as it comes in the league, and obviously he's been amazing for us.
Leon Draisaitl talking about tonight's game and what he's like from his team thus far. All right, we're going to get into the game day odds check, brought to you by our good friends over at Play Alberta. Make your bets count for you and everyone else with the Play Alberta app, with hundreds of player prop bets on the biggest leagues: NFL, CFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, you name it. You're not just playing for fun, you're supporting your province. Play Alberta revenue helps fund Alberta programs and services. Deposit today with promo code YEG50. That's capital Y, capital E, capital G, 50, and get an EST exclusive $50 free bet to get started. So YEG50 in all caps gets you an EST exclusive $50 free bet to get going. I'm on the Play Alberta website. Let's take a look at the money line and the puck line from tonight. I switched it from decibel to American. Thank you, Dusty Nielsen, for that heads up. Otherwise, I would be lost. The Oilers on the money line, plus 110 tonight. The Golden Knights, minus 139. And then you've got the puck line, Edmonton, minus 250. Vegas, plus 150. Over-under at 6.5. Nanso, what do you think for the over-under tonight?
I'm gonna go under.
You do? You think it's going to be under? I'll go over. I want to see goals. I went for it last game too, and it just stayed under. I'm going to go over tonight.
Okay.
I think we see more goals from Vegas. Edmonton still gets 4+.
I think both goals are going to be sharp tonight. That's why. The only reason. Wait and see, though.
You think? Do you think? Speaking of that, like, did Hill have a tough game? Because I
didn't like the Draisaitl goal. That's a brutal.
Well.
Goal.
Yeah, and listen, that's a sharp play by Draisaitl, like very clever and cheeky to outwit Aiden Hill, and he kind of lost it in the air. Remember, it kind of like it went over him, and he didn't catch it. And then he's scrambling back to his net. They slide. All the goalies slide now back to the net, and Draisaitl just slapped it towards the crease, goes off his pad, trickles in. Not a great goal. You're right. Clever play by Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm. And
Calvin Pickard was all right too.
Gager didn't like. I think it was the third goal. He thought he was too deep in his net on the Hyman one. Just
because I thought the Hyman one was top shelf, but it was kind of lower than I thought initially, right?
Yeah, because if you look
what
at
did Gager say?
We froze it, and he was inside the blue paint. Gager wanted him just a little bit like over it, or just almost on the line. Because he goes, if he's there, he's probably got a better angle, right? And Hyman doesn't make that shot. Yeah. So, it was a good breakdown by Gager. So, I mean, he was good, Tom. But, I wouldn't put it on him for the reason they lost. I mean, these guys had 7 shots in 40 minutes, Tom.
Yes.
He can't shoot the
That's
puck
a good
as well,
reminder.
right? So, I think that's a tough one for them. But, yeah, I'll be honest, I'm intrigued to see their bounce back today. I truly am.
I think they're going to be tougher than they were.
And I want to see what the Oilers do because, Tommy, we've been saying it all season. When these guys are leading or get a little bit of success, sometimes they don't show up with their best. Let's hope that's not the case, right? Let's hope they kind of just keep feasting on the way they're playing and doing the right things and playing the right way, honing in on the details. But, we've seen this before where – a little bit of success for the Oilers sometimes is not the best thing, but that's why I'm very intrigued by this game tonight. I'm just getting Cass ready here.
Okay, you called them fat and sassy when they have success. I love that reference earlier today. Let's go to Conroe, Texas, texting in with an image. He's got his Edmonton Oilers shrine with Joe Boo. You'll recall Joe Boo from the Major League Series, and I think it was Pedro Serrano had Joe Boo in his locker room stall. Conroe, Texas says, Joe Boo 5-0. Just saying. In answer to Hernan's question, I think the biggest surprise for me has been the continued improvement from our new boy toy, Trent Frederick. Thank you, Conroe, Texas, with the image of Joe Boo and the shrine with the throwback Edmonton Oilers. That looks like a sweatshirt. Very nice. And then Bruce from William Huff chiming in. Hello, Bruce. Good to hear from you. He says, I just left Rogers Place. Fans out in full force tonight.
Ooh. Behave.
That could be good. That could be bad. It is pre-Friday.
Stop fighting.
ELE. Everybody love everybody, as the late, great Jackie Moon
Did you see that video of Vegas, Tom, with 2 Oiler fans were going at it, and by all accounts, they're brothers?
I did. Yep.
And one of them was just feeding the lawnmower to his brother. I was like, what is going on here?
Oh, I saw that one. Not good.
What?
Not good.
Initially, you know why I thought it was a Vegas fan? Because that guy was wearing like the Robert
Old
Nielsen
Oilers.
white jersey.
Yeah.
Remember those years? And
those were terrible uniforms.
And then people started chiming in. He's like, no, they're both Oiler fans. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Way too many cervezas, Tom.
Yep. Maybe a casino loss here or there, or bad night at the blackjack table. I don't know, but listen, and then the security guy comes up to them. And he's like, "Now, boys, if you don't stop, I'm gonna have to throw you out." And they just kind of like sat back quietly, and they're like, "We're brothers. We're gonna be okay." Oh, here's the speaking of brothers, here comes the combine crew. We got Bryce, we got Garen. Good to see you, boys. Everybody's back there, boys. Everybody's back there. Oh yeah. There we go. And he's got a Strudwick jersey on. Garen with the Struddy jersey. Very nice touch. Very nice touch indeed. All right, we're going to get Cass reconnected. He's been having trouble they're trying to do What's going on in Sherwood Park? Have they not installed the fiber optic yet?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've had to.
Well, there he is. I see him.
Go. Let's see. If
I
this
see him.
works.
I do have. I had one more point on that throwing the fists there in the T-Mobile Arena video from the two brothers. I don't think he landed that many. And the one brother was just like, yeah, all right,
He's
whatever.
just taking them and like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, it was.
I didn't mean it, Mom. They were brothers and they were like in their 40s or 50s.
Yeah, like
So,
that.
yeah.
Oh boy, stop.
That's
fighting.
not good.
Stop fighting.
Oh,
whether
that's
you're
what I
at the
wanted.
watch
That's what I
party-
wanted to say. Yeah, good. Say that again. Sorry, I cut you off.
Stop
Say that
fighting
again.
whether
Hernan.
you're in Vegas or at the watch parties. Just stop it.
Very well said. And those uniforms, the ones that the Oilers wore, the Reebok Edge 07-08. I remember Pat LaForge. I love Pat LaForge. I worked with him. He was obviously the president of the team when I started with them back in 2010. But I remember him trying to sell them off as a Baltimore Ravens inspired look.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't see it. I don't see it. The away jerseys, like that one guy was wearing, looked like practice jerseys. They had the stripe that had a gap in it. And then the home jerseys were like all navy blue. And then the piping was a big thing for a while. The only team that has maintained those uniforms from the Reebok Edge era with the piping is the Washington Capitals. I guess the Boston Bruins too, but the Boston Bruins jerseys look nice. All right, let's get to Matt Kassian now. Enough jersey talk for tonight. We want to get Cass. He's got a nice shirt on tonight.
He does.
Very good. There he is. There's our game analyst, Matt Kassian, as we welcome him in. Cass, did you see the video of the two brothers fighting at T-Mobile Arena, two older gentlemen?
No, but I'm going to have
bad.
to. I'm going to have to now. I didn't have a chance to see that. I was too busy watching for embellishment in the NHL's great officiating in calls at the Toronto game yesterday. But no, I'll send it to me. I'll take a peek. Probably
right.
pretty funny.
It was clearly facetious, you saying the great officiating. I will send that video to you. It is a bit silly. Let's start with the question of the night, Cass. It comes from Hernan. I want our listeners and viewers to chime in as well. We've had a few people text us already, and it is which Oilers player through 7 playoff games has surprised you the most? 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Cass, what say you?
I'm probably going to go with Connor Brown. Now, I anticipated him to be pretty good, but he's been better even than anticipated, and maybe I shouldn't be surprised with how he played through the playoffs last year and how he finished up the season, and maybe he was decent over the course of the regular season too. But I'm going to say he's pleasantly surprised me. Now, Klingberg would be a close second. Those guys are pretty close in there for both of them, I would say. But I'm going to give it to Connor Brown for now. Just the speed and the desire that he is exuding right now has been a major boon for the Edmonton Oilers and their depth. So Connor Brown it is.
All right, Connor Brown is Cass's pick for the question of the night. Which Oilers player has surprised you the most through the first 7 games of the playoffs for the Orange and the Blue? That takes us to the Game Changers portion of the show, brought to you as always by our good friend Damon Bunting and Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, a consistent top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass, point number 1, the Axeman.
The Axeman looks like the old Axeman is going to be back in the lineup for the Las Vegas Golden Knights, or at least I'm assuming he is, and Alex Pietrangelo. Now, for you that are maybe familiar with music, you know, the Axeman's the guitar player, the lead guitar player, not the rhythm guy, but the lead guitar player, swinging the axe out there. Now, Pietrangelo uses it as a weapon against players that are defenseless, like Leon Draisaitl, but he's a guy that is the leader, much like a guitar player, oftentimes the leader of a band. Pietrangelo, in a lot of ways, the leader of the Vegas Golden Knights, doesn't wear the C on his chest. However, he does direct a lot of the play from the back end. Not like he's an incredibly offensive guy. He's not jumping into play quite like a Cale Makar. However, he does do a good job of breaking things up in the neutral zone, disrupting plays down low in the defensive zone, and transitioning the puck, which leads to offense for the Vegas Golden Knights. And that's an area they really struggled in. You saw comments from the Vegas Golden Knights dressing room about their inability to break up the Edmonton Oilers' breakouts, the inability of them to disrupt on the forecheck, and there's a part of that, but it kind of goes beyond that to me when I think about Game 1 and re-looking back at Game 1, where Edmonton did a really good job of having good puck support through the neutral zone and not turning pucks over. Now Vegas is going to look at this and go, a guy like Pietrangelo, he's going to be directing traffic there. He does make them better through the neutral zone and on zone entries against, and is a really big part of that. So throws a major wrench in the game for the Edmonton Oilers, but certainly even if he's at 80%, I think the Vegas Golden Knights are a better team with Pietrangelo in the lineup. Now, if he is at 80%, who knows? Maybe the Edmonton Oilers can exploit a little bit if he's not at that full capacity. But the Axeman swinging it back in the lineup, a big boon for the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Cass, when a guy is sick in the National Hockey League, I know there can be like head colds, there could be flu. How tough is it to come back when you're in such rough shape that you couldn't play in a game? Like, I would assume like it's got to be pretty bad.
Yeah. And you have to, especially when you're one of the best players, like you have to think you have to be at a worse percentage than the next guy up. That's the mindset, right? So if you think of like a Connor McDavid, we'll use him as an example. If Connor McDavid's out of the lineup, or if he's not feeling well, but he's still kind of okay to go, and it's like, okay, if he can give you a good 15 minutes at 70%, that's better than 95% of the league. So you're probably still going to go. Pietrangelo not obviously at the same level as Connor McDavid. However, the reality that he was still doubtful, or not doubtful, but just kind of 50-50 game time decision tells me that he was out of the last game, that it was pretty bad. Now you don't know. We don't know exactly what it was. We don't know. Was he able to keep food down? Was it just a head cold? Like we don't know exactly. But for him to miss a game in the second round of the NHL playoffs, he's got to be pretty sick. Now you're going to be loading up with all kinds of medication, whatever legally you're allowed to take without flagging anything on the P tests if you have to take them. So no actual ephedra, maybe a little Sooty under the limit goes into your system. Sooty and a Diet Coke, and he's good to go. But we'll have to see. The interesting thing, and it's Tom, it's a little different than like if you or I call in sick to work. And then, we're okay enough to go the next day where, yes, you don't have energy and you kind of can slog through it and you get through it. Playing at an extremely high level is very dangerous. And it's not just the day you were sick. It's the 2 or 3 days afterwards. And the reason it's the 2 or 3 days afterwards is your body's just recovering. Like you may not be as sick anymore or feel as sick anymore, but from an energy standpoint and neurologically, your body's worn down because it's been spending all its resources to fight whatever bug you have. So it can be challenging. Now, some guys, they're able, for whatever reason, they just seem to bounce back and able to not have it affect them as much. Some guys, it's just they have enough adrenaline going into it where it can get you through, and we won't know. I mean, I won't be able to tell you that about Pietrangelo to see how he plays tonight, but yeah, it could be interesting. He, especially in a game where you may be asked to play a lot of minutes. And that I think is going to be the indicator, is like if he ends up at 25 minutes, we got to know, okay, he's probably feeling pretty good. If they're monitoring and watching him from the matchup standpoint a little bit, he may not be all the way back there yet.
I do remember a time we were in San Jose and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had the flu and he didn't take the morning skate, and they sent him back to the hotel in a vehicle. And he had like the ice bags that the trainers use on the plane. He had one of those. They're pretty big bags, just loaded with Gatorades and vitamin waters. And I'm sure they gave him a large bag full of medication. Like you said, that's all legal and doesn't lead to a failed P test. And I just remember he's like, I go to bed. And I'm like, did you go out last night? He's like, no, I'm just really sick. And I'm like, and he's not a guy that's out there, getting wasted the night before. But I remember looking at him like, oh yeah, you don't even look like the right shade of skin color. You don't have the right complexion. He's like, yeah, I gotta go. And he's just like lugging this huge bag of Gatorade. So that does happen. They're giving me mail here for crying out loud. Anyway, let's move on to point number 2 on Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Brace for impact, Cass.
Yeah, well, on that note, we mentioned the things that the Las Vegas Golden Knights coming out of their dressing room talking about where they weren't where they want to be from a gameplay standpoint, and I don't think they were. They didn't do a great job of pressuring, and I think for the Edmonton Oilers, your defensemen in particular, you have to be ready for the Vegas Golden Knights to do their darndest today to apply more pressure to you, to try to hit your defenseman a little bit more, to try to make it more difficult for them to turn the puck up ice, because the Oilers defensemen did a great job of that. They really did. They transitioned the puck well, got into the forwards' hands, and got moving out of their zone quickly, which is one of the reasons Vegas had very little zone time sustained in Edmonton's zone. Edmonton had way more in the offensive zone. They had way more opportunities, way more shots, way more everything. And so Vegas is really going to make an effort today to try to be more aggressive and physical on that forecheck. Now, you've said it a couple times. You said it last game, and I think it's a very astute point and observation. The Vegas Golden Knights are not as fast as the LA Kings. They don't have as much speed. But when they're playing at their best, they play more aggressively. They don't sit back as much. They jump, they attack. And I think you're just going to see more of that tonight. With a bigger, better Vegas Golden Knights team, they will be more aggressive, and the Edmonton Oilers defensemen are going to have to be ready for that, and the forwards are going to have to be ready for it. They're going to have to put themselves in good positions to transition the puck, to give the defensemen the easy ups and easy outs. They're going to have to get back in support, make those passes shorter, get inside the zone, no big TV turns and loops, but get into good support position and find a way to deal with what is undoubtedly going to be a more aggressive forecheck from the Vegas Golden Knights tonight.
Nanso, you got any thoughts? No, he doesn't.
He's thinking. That's what he's doing. They're brewing.
He's got the thoughts brewing. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting now with the agency. Point number 1 was the Axeman. Point number 2, brace for impact. Point number 3, penalty troubles, Cass.
Yeah, got to stay out of penalty troubles. I just talked about the flagrant diving, the horrible diving that was going on in the Florida-Toronto game. I don't understand how a player could, how dare they fake getting hit straight from behind violently into the boards. Definitely an embellishment penalty. We all know that officiating not always great in the NHL, even in the playoffs. We also know that the Vegas Golden Knights are a team that don't take a lot of penalties. Now, they probably should have taken a few more last game. We could go to that Nuge where he gets the double minor for high sticking shortly after he was interfered with, where there was a missed call there, and there was other missed calls as well. Now, that being said, regardless of what type of game the referees are actually officiating and what type of penalties they're actually officiating, we still have seen some struggles from the Edmonton Oilers penalty kill, and it's better than it was early on against the Los Angeles Kings, but
yes,
still a group that right now, Tom, I don't have a ton of faith in. And for a team, like if you can play 5-on-5 the way you've been playing against LA, where you're not giving up very many grade A scoring chances 5-on-5 against, all of a sudden Vegas's way to beat you is to beat you on the power play, is to say, okay, you know what, we're going to draw a penalty. That's going to be our time. We're going to get some chances. We're going to start to feel good about ourselves. We're going to put a puck in the net because Edmonton Oilers have been struggling on the penalty kill. So, let's just really try to sell this. Let's try to draw it. Let's try to go on the power play. And for the Edmonton Oilers, I think just staying out of the box is going to be a big thing. Like you have been playing, which is so weird because a couple of years ago, it was like just put the Edmonton Oilers in the power play, right? Power play is automatic.
Yeah.
Automatic. Like you want on as many calls as possible both ways in the game, because you're like, our power play against their power play, yeah, we're golden, we're good, we're going to win that game. But what's interesting even now for a series like this is I'm looking at this and going, they're a really good 5-on-5. And if they just keep this game 5-on-5 and they play the way they've been playing, they're probably going to win the hockey game. So staying out of the box, I think, is pretty important tonight. You want it to be a low-event game from a penalty standpoint, if you can, which, again, is kind of weird to be saying with how good the Oilers' power play can be. Their penalty kill, I just don't trust at this time. So keep it low-event, stay out of the box, stick to that 5-on-5 play, which has been really good the last couple of games, and see if you can roll the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
All right, just a refresher on the penalty kill. It is still last in the NHL in the postseason at 60.9%. Obviously got off to a horrific start in that series against the LA Kings. LA, Ottawa, New Jersey, Colorado are the other teams that are in the bottom of the PK standings in the postseason. There's one common theme among those four teams grouped in there. They're not in the playoffs. The next closest is the Washington Capitals. The Caps are at 72.2%, yet LA at 61.5%. That's because Edmonton's power play woke up in that series. The Sens were 64.7%, Jersey 68.4%, and then Colorado 69.6%. So that PK, Cass, like, you have every reason to not have a ton of faith in it. It went 2 for 3 the other night. The power play went 0 for 2. The power play is second in the postseason among all teams at 33.3%. So there is some reassurance there, I suppose. When you look at that penalty kill, like, are there common themes outside of the fact that they just allow more goals than they should on the PK?
Yeah, too much.
But do you notice subtleties?
Yeah, too much in the seams still, opening up in the seams. I don't love their stick placement as a unit. Hasn't been great, I think. The forwards up top have been a little scrambly as far as who's pressuring and the angle of pressure. And then I think the defensemen haven't done a good job of being clean on the frontal block. So, like, getting in front of players or boxing out, like kind of where you're trying to position yourself in that regard. And there's been some guys, and I'm going to rag on Wallman here for a little bit, who 5-on-5 he's been pretty good the last couple of games. They're very, very good, I would say. And Klingberg has been a big part of that. But on the penalty kill, he's been absolutely atrocious, where he just gets a little lost out there, spinning around. I think sucked down a little bit too low at times. And then, as always, there's some of the Oilers defensemen that leave their feet way too often, and that just drives me nuts. I can't stand that from a penalty killing standpoint. I don't know there's a coaching thing and there's a stylistic thing, and I get that, but I don't like that either. Overall, I would say the biggest thing that's hurt them has been their inability to close seams with their sticks, as I started with, although there's been a couple other things that have been issues as well.
All right, Nanso's back. Nanso, what do you got for us, buddy?
Cass, do you have any concerns for the Oilers tonight? Outside of the PK?
Aside from that, my concern is that they're going to be a little bit too on their high horse from winning game one, right? Like, I talked about this in the last post-game show, where, like, I don't think in this series there's going to be as much momentum that carries over game to game. Like, I think it's just a different series than the LA series, where you just had the multi-year history of Edmonton beating them, where, you didn't create a massive amount of doubt in the mind of the Vegas Golden Knights after that last win. Now you beat them, which is great. You got the win, which is great, but it's not like they're crippled. It's not like they're lost. It's not like mentally you score one goal and Vegas is just going to pack it in. Oh, series is done. Let's go home. And so my concern is that you finally get that win in that first game, and then they kind of step off the gas a little bit, especially because Vegas is going to push. Like, they're going to come out and they're going to push. That would be my concern, but I don't think it's a big concern, because I kind of look at how they've been able to sustain that momentum, and I think they've done a really good job of that. So I wouldn't say I'm like worried about that, but it is a thought that has popped into my mind. That's for sure.
All right, guys, we got a bunch of texts that have come in. Well, Nanso, did you want to say something else there?
No. It's just this team, 1-0 lead, something we haven't seen yet this year. But again, last year they would trail, they would be up. It didn't matter. But I'm kind of with Cass, where, you're a bit of on that high horse, and hopefully they don't have that mentality tonight.
All right. I see. Is that Sean? Is that how you pronounce that in the nasty chat? Sean Stevens. She's trying to listen. She wants to listen from work. If you have a headphone jack or if you have Bluetooth headphones at work, just listen to us on iHeartRadio, Sean. You don't have to watch us on YouTube. If you want to keep it locked on to GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, we also do the postgame show. I think Sean is new to our station, so welcome. Some of the nasties helping her out as well. That's great. We appreciate that. Get her the link on iHeart, guys, if you can. Or we can work on that as well. Let's go to Tony, who says, guys, what is the difference for Vegas if Pietrangelo can play tonight compared to Game 1? You kind of talked about it a bit, Cass, on point number 1 of game changers. Anything else that you would tell Tony in regard to the difference in Vegas's game if they do have Pietrangelo compared to if they don't again?
Yeah, well, I'll touch on what I said earlier, and then I'll add in a little bit more.
Okay.
You know, he from a play standpoint, I mean, he's arguably their best defenseman. He does a very good job with gap control and with breaking up plays off of the cycle. So he does a good job of separating you from the puck, closing time and space, and he's rangy. I mean, he's big, he's rangy, got a little bit of nasty in him, and he just defensively helps your team break up plays and helps transition the puck to offense. So he does a really good job of that. Now, that's him as an individual. From a team standpoint, I think mentally having him come back into the lineup, it's just, you know, if we looked at it and said, Draisaitl was out of the lineup, well, your team is going to get a boost if he's sick and then he comes back the next game. And it's like, okay, well, Leon's back. And yes, it's not the offensive punch that you're getting back, but it would be like if Ekholm was able to come back tonight, where we even in the media would go like, oh, Ekholm's back, right? Like, rock solid, right? Good. Better. We're going to be a better team with him in. He's going to help us. He's going to lock it down. We're going to be better. We got this. Like, and so I think the bigger thing with Pietrangelo coming back in is just that mentality that it's able to switch some of that. It's just like it's a motivational boost to have one of your best players and your best defenseman step back into the lineup.
Nice answer. That's for Tony texting in his question. Let's go to Stu now, who says, hey, gents, to preface, I love the line of Perry, Draisaitl, and McDavid, but when Perry needs a break, can you see Frederic getting some run time on the top line? He's looking a lot better, and I think he could pot a few with the big boys. Your thoughts, please. Also, how many Struddy jerseys actually exist? What a beauty jersey. Yes, that was, I think Guerin's wearing it from the Combine crew. It's a Struddy, the navy blue and orange that they just retired after last season. It's one of those. So Struddy didn't actually wear that one. I have a Jason Strudwick reverse retro New York Islanders jersey that's hung up in a frame in my office back at the EST Satellite Studios in downtown Edmonton. So there's a few out there. I've seen a few out there. And then in regard to the Frederic getting some looks on that top line with McDavid and Draisaitl, Cass, what would you say to Stu?
I wouldn't mind seeing that. Now, you usually see like Hyman slide in there and they'll work a couple other guys in. If Perry needs some a little bit of a break, Connor Brown has found his way in there a couple of times, and he's been really good, so I totally get that. But Frederic's game has started to come around the last number. Like, he does really seem like he's just getting maybe even if it's just a tiny little bit at a time, it's just a little bit quicker and a little bit back up to speed bit by bit. And ankle injuries are tough. High ankle sprains are tough. Like it's a hard injury to come back from. But he feels like he's getting there. And yeah, I wouldn't mind. Like if Perry, let's say whatever, there's a power play, penalty kill, something happened, and you needed to go back to McDavid and Draisaitl, put them back out there. Is Frederic a guy that I'd like to see get a couple shifts there? Absolutely. Absolutely, because he plays that same type of game where it's like, okay, he's a guy that can go dig pucks out, a guy that can be around the net, guy that can get into the shoving match around the net and try to just, bat a rebound home. Absolutely, I'd like to see him there.
All right, let's go to Byron. Says, hey, boys, another big game. Nice to get to the 2-0 series lead mark. I'm coming in late. Is Pietrangelo playing tonight? We're still waiting on word there, Byron.
Yes, playing. I'm just going to say yes, he's playing.
Okay, Cass is making an educated guess.
A very educated guess. Yes, he's playing. No, they haven't officially announced it. The guy took morning skate today. If he was questionable, actually, for tonight, he wouldn't have taken morning skate. They would have just let him sleep. So he's playing tonight. I know they said that, but again, the second that guy's skates were on the ice for pregame, I'm like, he's playing. So he's playing. All
right.
Yeah.
There's a guy who knows because he played in the damn league, for crying out loud.
Well,
Byron
I
also.
still could be wrong, but that's what I think anyways.
when we know for sure, we'll pass it along. I haven't seen anything. Nanso, have you seen anything yet? I just refreshed X.
No, I'm scrolling too and waiting to see something regarding that, but nothing yet.
Okay. Byron also adds, I hope we can maybe get the first power play tonight. I didn't realize last series the penalties were 20-13. Oilers need to get a few more calls. That's Byron out of Winnipeg. Yeah, and like Cass was alluding to, you can't really expect much from the officials. I'm 100% on board with Cass in regard to that thought. I think Hernan, you're probably of the same mind. Lowered expectations when it comes to the officiating. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And I don't know, maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised tonight and the Oilers get on the power play and actually get one. They did lose the special teams battle in game number 1. All right, keep those coming in. We've got Scorpion, who's from Ontario, but checking in from Sydney, Australia. That's
cool.
Badass. I like that. And also sent in an AI-generated photo of oil being dumped on a golden knight.
There you go.
In armor. Yeah, I like that.
Wouldn't that be good for the armor, though?
Yeah, it would lubricate it, right?
Lubricate it and protect it from rust.
Now, in this AI-generated image that Scorpion has sent us from Sydney, Australia, while he listens tonight, it looks like a castle behind, obviously, the realm, if you will. And this oil that is being dumped onto a golden knight holding a spear, the oil doesn't seem to be going into joints or pivot points. It's just being dumped on the head. So maybe not as effective as if it were applied to areas where there is movement. So there's that, Cass.
There's that.
All right, final one for you, Cass. What kind of hockey game do you think we're going to see tonight? Are you taking the over or the under if you were to put it? It's at 6.5 on Play Alberta. What do you think? Do they buckle it down, both teams, or do we see some open hockey firing both sides of the ice?
Yeah, I think we see a little more buckled down today. I think you see a better defensively Vegas team, which leads to them being a little better offensively. Now it could. It depends. It depends who scores first, too. Depends who scores first, and I think that will either open up the game or it'll lock it down a little bit more. If Vegas scores first, I think you'll see a lower event game. Edmonton scores first, I think you'll see a higher event game. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know which direction it's going to go. It truly depends. And this is just the interesting thing in this series to me is it all depends on the Edmonton Oilers. It all depends on the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers are either going to win this series by their play or they're going to lose it by their play. And what I mean by that is I don't think it matters if Vegas plays poorly or Vegas plays really well, because I think Edmonton at their best is better than Vegas. And I think Edmonton at their best, if they play anywhere close to that, they win the series. If they shoot themselves in the foot by getting back to some of the bad habits that we saw early in the playoffs, then they're going to lose. So it depends which Oilers team we see. I'm leaning towards that they have just that good feeling from a momentum standpoint, just about their own play and their play 5-on-5. So I'm going to say it's a lower event game, lower scoring game, and I think we see better from the Vegas Golden Knights, so it's going to be a little tighter. But, Tommy, I think Edmonton comes out on top.
When the Oilers score first, they're 1-0. When the opponent scores first this postseason, 4-2. Vegas is 4-1 when scoring first, and 0-2 when the opponent scores first. Did you want to say something to Cass really quickly, Hernan?
Alex is on the ice for warm-ups.
Like Cass said, he's in.
He's in.
Yeah.
There you go. The Axeman is in. Cass, you called it, buddy. You called it. And tell us about this shirt you're wearing. Very nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Just a little, we're getting closer to summer. A little flower. There's some palms or something on there, and I don't know if there's birds, but it's it's a little. We're getting summery. We're getting summery. So it's a nice little shirt. I like it.
I give it a huge thumbs up. Nicely done, Cass. Excellent work as always, and we look forward to hearing from you on the postgame show.
Sounds good, fellas.
There's our game analyst, Matt Kassian, with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting now with the agency. Check him out, damonbunting.com. Or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. He is excellent, a great guy, day one partner with us here at EST. And the most important thing you're looking to buy or sell a home, he's very, very good at it. So there's that. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. We roll along here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Gazzola and Salas with you. And quick out-of-town scoring update. The Washington Capitals. Tom Wilson is punching Taylor Hall. After a skirmish. 11:24 remains in the third period. The score is 2-0 Washington. What do you think, Nanso? I know Bronco Nick was adamant that the Canes were a force to be reckoned with. Not that they aren't, but he was very impressed. I remember reading a couple texts from Bronco Nick earlier that he was impressed with how suffocating the Canes played against the Caps. But it is the Caps leading 2-0 with 11 minutes and change left to go in the third period. Nancy,
yeah, it's a good team. I don't know if they're Stanley Cup contenders. I think they need a few more bodies there. But Jacob Slavin's fantastic defenseman. They got some quality forward. Logan Stankoven's gonna be a hell of a player, man. Like I know they're down. Yeah. They lost Natchez and Rantanen, but they got a good one. Probably the third best one though, but he's still good. I think the series is gonna be long, man. Both teams, it's pretty even. You're seeing it right now, 2-0 with 11 to go in the third. Looking good for the Caps. So we'll back to Carolina with the split. That's probably going to be a split, Tom, too. And then we'll see what happens. But I'll say this. I'm more worried about Toronto because they're looking damn good, man. They look a little bit different this year. They're looking very Oiler-like, very calm, composed. Seems like they're doing all the little things right. Craig Berube's got them playing the right way, and everybody's checked in. Nylander's having a great playoff. So in terms of the East right now, I think it's Toronto's, to be honest with you.
Wow. I mean, things can change, but you're right, out of the gates in the second round. As we discuss, Alex Pietrangelo returning to the lineup tonight. He looks like he's going to be in for the Golden Knights. I had an update on X from TSN, and Sean Darkangelo puts Ottawa ahead in the third period in the PWHL. Ottawa leads Montreal. And I just saw, I'm like, Sean Darkangelo, that can't be a real name. It is. And she just scored. So there's a PWHL update for you as well. We've got a great group of nasties who are down here at Hudson's Bourbon Street celebrating VR Montenegro's birthday. Jay and Andrea are here. I saw Calvin and Marge, Cal in the park and Sarah. Corey B is here. Fergie's Prostate is here. Rob from the Grove is here. I feel like I'm forgetting. Raider Jesse is here. And I feel like there's going to be a few more. Lieutenant Eric is already here. Nancito will be stopping by. We're going to have a great time. And there are tables available if you want to come down at the last second and don't have anything planned and want to join us. There are available spots to watch. Game number 2 between the Oilers and the Golden Knights. Hernan, we do have some more audio from the locker room, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, do we have Knoblock?
We have Knoblock and Picks.
Okay, let's go to Chris Knoblock for a couple of minutes and hear what the head coach has to say going into game number 2.
After a win, it's easier on the coaches, but it's a matter of public record who did not skate with Vegas yesterday. How much time do you spend going down the rabbit hole of what they might throw back at you?
I think before the series or before every game, you have some ideas of what they might do, possibilities of lines, and then when you have an idea maybe what the lines are going to be, you think about maybe the matchups and if they're going to be rolling them or having a certain line against, usually it's our top line. And then for us, we just have to, you don't want to be changing things up too much because we played a pretty good game the other night and you don't want to take away that rhythm, the flow, and how everyone's feeling. So I think it's more of getting ready for, if we don't get off to a good start, what's my plan B? And hopefully as a coach, you never want to hit that plan B.
Think about game 5, I think, in the LA series where you guys really had it buttoned down, and then the first game of this series, how much you had it buttoned down. Is that the template, that the way you'd like to see the team play every night, and what's the difference on this?
Our team doesn't get enough credit about being fast, and it's not necessarily having burners, guys who can really up and down the ice. It's just more of a team mentality of whether it's on the defensive side or the offensive side. I think we were playing very fast with our breakouts, neutral zone transition. It's collectively. I thought we were transitioning very quickly. Defensively, that speed, and the fastest speed element you can have is thinking and knowing where the play is going to be and being in the right position to close time and space. And, one guy can't do that. It's more of a team mentality. The 5 guys that are on the ice, how well they check. And, I thought we played fairly fast last game with especially how we checked. We were moving collectively together, taking away time and space. And when we're playing our best, that's how we're playing, is just collectively we're checking very well.
You talked about just not necessarily when you go to plan B, but it seems like since you've been here in Edmonton, plan B's kind of worked out well for you. Like, how do you know sort of like when to go to plan B, when to make those adjustments, and throughout your career, like, how did you get comfortable knowing like when to hit the switch versus maybe when not to hit the switch?
I think when you have a lot of good players, a good team, when you hit plan B, they can make things look like that was a good plan. That was a good idea to do that. And I think in my time here, we've had a lot of good players and a lot of guys that maybe haven't been in prominent roles. And then when we change things up, it gives them a little spark, a little energy, just changes things up. And you also think sometimes when you don't make a change, things were going to change anyways, just as the flow of the game. You weren't going to play that badly and continue on that. So, I think as a coach, you need to make changes sometime, but often if you're doing it too many times, it runs a little dry, and players are, when things aren't going well, sometimes they're looking for, well, let's just change it up. So it's it's a balance on how much you can do that.
But even though it's like a balance for how you do it, the fact that it seems like you've been doing it consistently since day one, like, how do you sort of make it work? 'Cause I know you said like, hey, it's about having good players, but like, how deep into this process like do you think about it? Is it something like you're thinking about like every day, not every day, or like sort of like how does it work?
I think in this business, coaches never have a day off. I think we're always thinking about how we can make our team better and planning for the next opponent. And I take a lot of feedback from my players, ask them, who do they like playing with, and so when things aren't going well, you put somebody together that they're like, I haven't had an opportunity with a guy that I like, that it's more likely going to succeed rather than, we don't really mesh and I'm better off with so-and-so. So those are things I take note of, and obviously the coaching staff, and thinking about, we need to be a little more physical against this line, or we have to be a little more defensive awareness, a little more speed to it, and then we have those conversations also. So, and then, during the game when we have to make that decision, it's, well, who is playing? And then all that information you took before, you can use it to make your next decisions.
Chris, along the same vein.
All right, that was Oilers head coach Chris Knoblock speaking to the media prior to tonight's game, the Oilers and Golden Knights game number 2. Speaking of lineups, Hernan Salas and everybody watching and listening, we do have the update on the Golden Knights. I'll also give you Oilers lines as well. The lineups brought to you as always by South Fort Chev. Drive a little, save a lot. The Golden Knights lines for tonight: Eichel between Barbashev and Stone, Hurdle with Saad and Olofsson, Carlson between Howden and Smith, Waugh with Pearson and Kolasar. On defense, McNabb with Theodore, Nick Hague with Alex Pietrangelo. He will play tonight after missing game 1 due to illness. Noah Hannafin paired up with Zach Whitecloud. And it will be Aiden Hill in goal for the Vegas Golden Knights. As for the Edmonton Oilers, you heard Chris Knoblock talking about his team there, and sometimes he has to shuffle up the lines. But right now, he's got a 5-game heater going, and the lineup that got it done is McDavid between Draisaitl and Perry, Nugent Hopkins with Kane and Hyman, Henrique between Frederick and Brown, Janmark with Podkolzin and Arvidsson, Nurse paired up with Bouchard, and Wallman with Klingberg, Kulak with Emerson, Plug it in there, Adam. And then Jeff Skinner, Kasperi Kapanen, Max Jones, Derek Ryan, Troy Stetcher are out. We've got Calvin Pickard in goal. All right, Nasties, what do you guys want? You want prizes? It's not always about me. There's Corey B. What can I do for you? I'm like Santa Claus here. Tommy's tabs. Oh, thank you, Cal Park. I'll see you guys. Let me finish the show, and we'll celebrate VR Montenegro's birthday together. Okay, and I inadvertently unplugged something to get everything set up around here. Hernan, you're going to be coming down here as well?
Yeah, I'll see you in a bit.
Okay, one more scoring update for you from the other game tonight. It is 2-1 now. The Washington Capitals lead the Carolina Hurricanes. Shane Gostisbehere has a goal for the Canes. He got that a few minutes ago. 8:45 left to play in the third period. I have no idea what's going on. They're all over here now. There's a new thing that they have here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. It's a game you can play. I accidentally unplugged it, Hernan. My bad. They plugged it back in, so we'll get that all sorted out. Is that X-Ray J that's here too? Oh, maybe that is. Some of the Combine crew is here. You're going to have a lot of fun. DVD from NHL.com is coming down as well. Nanso, some final thoughts from you?
Yeah, let's go. I'm expecting low-scoring, tight game once again. I'm very excited to watch what the Oilers bring and see the bounce back from the Vegas Golden Knights, so let's go.
All right, that's not X-Ray J. It's a guy that's trying to leave and he's not happy. I don't know. I just gave him a peace sign. All right. A big thank you to Danny Webster. A big thank you to everybody who listened and watched. You know, we appreciate you so very, very much. The Oilers looking to take a 2-0 lead in this series over the Vegas Golden Knights. Alex Pietrangelo is back in. You can come join us here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. We'll be back for the post-game show. We're celebrating VR Montenegro's birthday as well. All right, for Matt Kassian and the Latino Heat, Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying have yourselves a great evening watching the Oilers. Join us on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Yes, there's Raider Jesse. He's super pumped up. All right, ciao for now. Enjoy the game. See you on the post-game show.